Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the sun's path. So let's get started. So first, let's recap on some vocabulary. Remember, the Earth rotates, and rotation means spinning. And we already talked about the Earth rotating counterclockwise or towards the east side, kind of like this. Now, we also said that the apparent daily path of the sun isn't the sun actually moving across the sky. The reason the sun looks like it's moving across the sky is because the earth is rotating. And make sure you have your note packet out today, and let's write that down. The apparent path of the sun is actually caused by the earth's rotation. Now, remember, the Earth rotates at 15 degrees per hour. And the sun, because of this, also seems to be rotating or moving across the sky at 15 degrees per hour. Because remember, the sun isn't actually moving, right? It's the Earth's rotation that causes the sun to look like it's moving in the sky at 15 degrees per hour. Let's write that down. So, apparent path of the sun is caused by Earth's rotation, and the sun seems to move at 15 degrees per hour because of that. Now, um, if you ever need to figure out the latitude of New York, where New York actually is on the map, you can always go to your reference table, page 3, and it will show you the latitudes that encompass New York. And New York is around, you could say, 42 to 43-degree latitude, or between 41 to 44 degrees latitude. And that's important for knowing how the apparent path of the sun works with from our location, from our observations here. So make sure you have this down. You might already have this in your note packet. We are looking at the path in New York, which is around 42 degrees north. Now, remember, seasons are caused by the 23.5 degree tilt of the Earth's axis, as well as the Earth's revolution. And remember, the summer solstice is on June 21st, or around that time. This is the first day of summer. It's the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, and this is when the sun's rays are directly shining in the Northern Hemisphere, particularly the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degree north. And then in the winter solstice, the first day of winter, on December 21st, the sun is actually shining most directly on the Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5 degrees south. And this causes the shortest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. Now, I want to show you a simulation just to get an idea of how the sun looks from our point of view as it goes along its path, its apparent path. So this is the sun, this is the earth, this is the moon. We're ignoring the moon right now. We're looking at our latitude 42 degrees. This is where New York is, this red dot. And if I play this, you'll notice that the earth rotates and this dot where we are also rotates with it. If I show you the view of what the sun looks like, let's do that one more time. As where the Earth is rotating, this is our location. Notice that when the this location is just entering the sunlight, that's when we start seeing the sun rise. And notice that when our location, this location right here, faces the sun most directly, that's when our sun is at its highest point. This is actually noon for us, 12 p.m. And then as the this location starts moving away from the sun, facing away, the sun is also starting to set in our sky. And this was when nighttime is, when we're completely moved away from the sun's light. And when our location is completely opposite the sun, this is when we experience midnight. Now let's explore some other things. So this is what I just said. When a location is actually directly facing the sun, right here, that would be noon for us. And kind of like this, if this was you and you're in a location of the earth that's directly facing the sun, you're experiencing noon, 12 p.m. And when you're in a location on earth that's completely opposite of the sun, you're experiencing midnight. And remember, the earth rotates eastward, so after midnight, you should see the sun rise around halfway through, and then noon. And afternoon you should see sunset halfway through, and then you'll experience midnight. We're ignoring moonrise and moonset for now. So, and because the earth rotates eastward, the sun actually appears to be rising and setting in the rising in the east and setting in the west, just like we've seen here, right? So the earth is rotating eastward. So the most eastward position right now is this side, right? The earth is rotating this way. So these locations towards the east will experience sunrise first, And those same locations in the towards the eastern side of the world will experience sunset first before all the other locations more towards the west side. And if you compared the path of the sun in different seasons, you would see that on June 21st, my sun's highest point is actually a lot higher in New York. But on December 21st, the sun's highest point is actually very low in New York. If we're looking at March 21st and September 23rd, it looks like the sun's highest point is somewhere below the summertime, June 21st, and somewhere above December 21st. So this is what you can see here as well. So if I go to June 21st, I'll show you this briefly. You'll see that that's the moon. The sun goes really high up. That's the highest point. But if I show you the same thing on December 21st, let's go a little this way. The sun is much lower in the sky and it doesn't go that high. That's because when you're looking at the sun in this position during our winter time, you're seeing the sun very low in the sky. You have to, it's more towards the south. And this is the path of the sun, or the apparent path of the sun in different seasons. We notice that in the summertime, we have the longest path of the sun. The sun is in the sky for even longer than the other seasons, and it goes really high. In autumn or spring or fall, the sun's path is slightly lower than summer, but higher than winter. And in the wintertime, it's lowest in the sky and it's the shortest path. The sun doesn't stay very long in the sky. That's why it seems cold. So in your notebook, go ahead and write this down. The highest point of the sun, for the highest point of the sun in New York, the date will be June 21st. And on June 21st, we actually have the longest path compared to the other seasons. Now, the sun is at its highest point at noon. Remember, noon is when, if you're on a person rotating on Earth, noon is when you're facing the sun directly, and that's when the sun is at its highest. And the sun is at its lowest point during sunrise and sunset when you're starting to face away or move away from the sun, rotating away from the sun with the Earth. That's when the sun is at its lowest point. It's just rising or it's just setting. Go ahead and write this down. So the highest point of the sun in New York is on June 21st and at noon regardless of the season. So, in the next video, we're going to talk about the celestial sphere.